This time we're going to talk about how your muscles develop. Okay? So, first, let's go over some of the basics. This is going to get a little involved, so I'll try to make it as simple as possible. Your muscles make up almost 90% of your body mass. That's for the average non overweight person. Muscle development potential, okay, is determined primarily on several factors. First factor is your body type. The second is genetics. The third is sex. The fourth is testosterone levels. And the fifth is age. So let's take a look at some of these factors, okay? So first of all, body type. There's three types of body types, okay? First, you have the ectomorph, which is a thinner physique and frame. An ectomorph has a smaller bone and muscle structure and longer arms and legs, which means that they have longer muscles. Okay, I'm primarily an ectomorph. Then you have a mesomorph. Okay, so a mesomorph has a thicker physique and frame, larger bone and muscle structure, often with shorter arms and legs, so that they end up having shorter muscles. Okay? And then the last is an endomorph, which is basically the same as as a mesomorph, but notably overweight. Genetics primarily determine the muscle composition of a person. So that's basically how much of what types of muscle fibers a person has throughout their body. Your muscles can be modified from physical activity, and that primarily occurs between your puberty and your low 20s. But after that, that's pretty much the basic body structure you're going to carry for the rest of your life. Your muscles consist of two different muscle fiber types. So I've been talking muscle fibers. Okay, basically your muscles are made out of fibers. Okay, and there's two different types. Okay, so the first one is called a fast twitch muscle fiber. Okay, those are more prevalent in men, and they're comparatively bulky and primarily account for most of a person's muscle size. Then there's slow twitch muscle fibers. So your slow twitch muscle fibers are your endurance fibers. A lot of runners have slow twitch muscle fibers. Okay. Those are responsible, again, for slow to moderate movements. And they're comparatively smaller in size and lean compared to your fast twitch muscle fibers. Okay. Also, there is a significant correlation between muscle strength and muscle size. So the bigger a person's muscles are, the stronger they are too. Okay. That is, of course, assuming that they're natural, and not, doing steroids and stuff like that. Okay. Next factor is sex. So a person's sex determines their body's ability to develop muscle, due to the natural factors of that sex, which will be noted more later in this video. So the next factor is testosterone levels. So testosterone is a hormone in the body, and what it does is it plays a significant role in the maintenance and development of your muscle. Okay, testosterone is the regulator of protein synthesis. So that's basically the amount of protein your body is able to use to make muscle. The higher your testosterone levels, the higher your body's ability to develop muscle. Which is why, especially when, of course, boys that are young men that are in their puberty, they have extremely high levels of testosterone, so that time in their lives, they're especially able to put on a significant amount of muscle. Obviously, men have much higher levels of testosterone than women, and so men are more able to develop muscle significantly more than women. The lower the testosterone levels in women is a major factor in their inability to develop significant muscle, especially large muscle size. The next factor would be age. So obviously, the older a person is, the harder it is for them to develop muscle. The most favorable time for new muscle development, as I mentioned, is during puberty, which is from mid-teens to the low 20s. But new muscle growth difficulty increases from that point on. Research suggests that new muscle development after the age of 30 is especially difficult. Actually, normal muscle loss is estimated to be 3 to 5% per decade after the age of 30. At the age of 30, also, according to the research that I've read, that after the age of 30, a male's testosterone levels significantly decrease, which would make a reasonable correlation between the lack of ability to gain muscle with lower testosterone levels. Now that we've covered the muscle building factors, let's look at how your muscles actually develop. So in order to build muscle, first you must break them down. You have to tear them down. And that happens from vigorous exercise, which micro tears the muscle fibers. They get injured, and your body is both defensive and reactive. So when you tear your muscles down, your body goes into repair mode. And initially, your immune system reacts to that injury. It actually is an injury. Okay? So that starts a cascade of events in your body involving a multitude of factors that go into motion. And defensively, your body intends to rebuild your torn muscles. So reactively, it intends to rebuild your muscle fibers stronger. And that's what causes muscles to grow. So what happens is that when your body is subjected to the same stress, so let's say you're doing bicep curls and you're curling 50 pounds, you end up tearing your muscle fibers because your muscles really aren't equipped to curl 50 pounds. So your body's rebuilt, your body defensively says to itself, if I'm put under the same stress again, I want to be able to perform that movement or that exercise without getting injured again. So what it does is it builds the muscle fibers to be able to handle that same stress so that your muscle fibers won't tear. And that's what causes your muscles to grow. Okay, so you tear them down, your body grows them stronger. So the next thing we're going to talk about now is nutrition, which is a key factor. Okay, so your muscles are made out of protein, and your muscles need protein to heal and grow. Okay, so, sufficient protein is a primary nutrient necessary for muscle growth. Of course, carbs and good fats are also required. And we will be covering nutrition more extensively in future videos. Okay, so muscle development happens in two ways. First of all, your muscle, your existing muscle fiber cells enlarge. And the second way is that your muscles develop new muscle fiber cells. Okay? But first, your body is always going to use the existing muscle fibers and expand them to their limits. Okay? But for those that are over their early 20s, this primarily occurs in the first year, the muscle expansion. So your muscle fibers, as I just mentioned, have limited expansion capabilities, so they will only be able to grow so much. And after those expansion capabilities are reached, then your body has no choice but to develop new muscle fibers. Now, for young people, that's not really a problem because their body's still developing. But for older people, new muscle development is extremely difficult, as I know firsthand. Okay, so as you continuously tear down the muscle fibers, the body builds new muscle fibers. And a couple things I wanted to mention is that it is much more, like I said, it's much more difficult for your body to develop new muscle fibers than it is to expand existing ones. And again, for younger people, it's easier than for older people. Now that I think of it, also would be understandable that DOMS, remember I think we talked about DOMS, delayed onset muscle soreness, would be longer for older people as well because their muscles are taking longer to heal and grow. And also because of that, caution should be considered for overtraining. So keep that in mind too. And that's all I got on muscle development. I'll see you next time.